Let's get this party started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and let's hop in a fantasy football draft like we do every single day. This time we're going to be getting in the fast puppy, just in case you're a caveman, just in case you're living under a rock and you don't know what's going on. This is an underdog tournament, $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool, $75,000 for first place, $40,000 for second place. We had a member of the flock, Nick, win this last year for $75,000. Let's go ahead and let's get in this bad boy. And we have so many freaking people out here in this draft with us, in this live stream with us, that I'm sure every single one of the picks in this draft will be someone from this live stream. So please, if you are out in this live stream with us and you made it into our draft, let me know in the live chat. Would love to see it. But we got Malcolm in here at pick 4. We have Rec dropping the emojis. Love to see it. Connor in here at 10. Sean in here at pick 6. JPZ in here at 9. We got Steelpin in here at 12. Malcolm means he's actually at 5. But regardless, happy to see all of y'all. Super happy to see Noah out here as well. And let's see. Jeffrey in here at 2. Cameron in here at pick 8. And yes, I am at pick 1 yet again. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Justin Jefferson, and maybe just with the Saquon Barkley news, we may have Saquon Barkley making it back around to us. But let's go ahead. Let's take Jefferson. Can't think about this one too much. I mean, there's not a lot to discuss, right? I mean, I guess you could discuss the projections that you have for the wide receivers at the very top this next year. Underdog currently has the player prop for Justin Jefferson at about 1,400 receiving yards. They have Jamar Chase at 1,300 receiving yards. Honestly, this feels a little light for Chase. Like, if I was looking at this, I'd probably rather have Chase plus 25 receiving yards compared to Devontae Adams. But who else do we need to look at here? They got Tyreek Hill currently sitting at 1,250. They have Cooper Kupp sitting at 1,325. So yeah, I mean, they have essentially Jamar Chase higher than anybody else, and it's not even remotely close either. You got to go ahead. You have to take Justin Jefferson at 1. But FF Addict says odds that Dalvin goes to New England. So y'all know we've been talking about for quite some time the possibility of the New England Patriots adding in a veteran running back, whether that's Dalvin Cook, whether that's Leonard Fournette, whether that's Kareem Hunt, whether that's Ezekiel Elliott. And that's been one of the reasons why I haven't really drafted Ramondre Stevenson as much as you would think you should. Because on paper, like we've discussed, Ramondre Stevenson is a league-winning player. But that is on paper. Of course, you may have some things change. I don't exactly know. So last I saw, I think sportsbooks had it plus 150, Dalvin going to New England. So by no means is it a guaranteed thing. It's still plus money last I saw. But I would be a little concerned about the Patriots bringing him in. Aram says, did you hear about Saquon? Apparently the Giants missed their tag deadline for him. He will be missing some games. I don't know if Saquon Barkley will be missing time. If I was a betting man, I would assume that Saquon Barkley does not miss time this next year. I would assume Saquon Barkley does not miss time. Noli Polly says, is Saquon now going lower than Pollard? We're going to see, my friend. I mean, it looks like we are going to have a ton of drafts this live stream. Hell, we've been live for 3 minutes and almost have 250 likes on this stream. So, of course, real quick, if you have not hit that like button yet, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Also, if you want to get into our next draft with us, we are doing this literally every single day until 2024. I haven't missed a day of live streaming since April. Not going to miss a day anytime soon. These are Underdog best ball drafts. Best ball means there's no time commitment at all during the year. That's how I drafted 700 teams and how I won $150,000 last season on Underdog. Now is by far and away the best time to be getting in on Underdog because they have the puppy tournament live, which is what we are in now, which is the $5 buy-in, which is the $500,000 prize pool, $75,000 for first place, which remember the flock won last season. And also they have a free Patrick Mahomes line available until July 22nd as well. So by far and away, the best time to get on Underdog is now. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And here we are going to be getting Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts at the 2-3 turn. I expect Barkley to continue to fall, and I expect that Barkley will most likely be my most drafted running back. Zachary saying Barkley fell to him in 35 in a draft earlier. Dear God. Dear God. Rex says Barkley just went at pick 19 in the draft that he is in. All I know is if it's a $5 buy-in, $75,000 for first place, I'm just chasing ceiling. If Barkley misses time this next year, then crap, I may lose my $5. But if Saquon Barkley plays as a top 3 running back and I'm able to start off with possibly the number 1 overall wide receiver in fantasy, the number 1 overall running back in fantasy, and the number 1 quarterback overall in fantasy, then hell, I'm going to be all about it. I'm going to be jumping on this Barkley value any day of the week, and I'm not going to think twice about it. And real quick side note, of course, these are the states that Underdog is available in if you want to hop into a draft with us with that link in the comment section, description, or live chat. But let's see. Deebo Samuel off the board, pick 32 to the team that decided to pair up Kelsey Mahomes. Cosmos at pick 7. Interesting start of Eckler, Taylor, Lamar. So no wide receivers through the first 3 rounds. Super interesting there. Super interesting. Nolly Polly says Saquon will be fine. A little bit of an overreaction. Like, I completely understand that there is some risk. And if you're playing in just like a casual redraft format where it's not like 75,000 for first place or anything, and you don't have to think about just the highest ceiling possible, I understand moving Barkley down a bit there. But specifically in these best ball formats, like, I'm going to be taking them over and over again. Now let's get out the sparkling water, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big day here. Danny says, who's the next guy up for the Giants if Barkley sits? What is hilarious is if Saquon Barkley sits, the New York Giants will have to go sign a running back. If Barkley sits, their depth chart cannot go into the season. It just can't be. So they would have to go through and they'd have to sign Kareem Hunt. They'd have to sign Leonard Fournette. They'd have to sign Ezekiel Elliott. They'd have to sign someone on an extremely cheap deal. Okay. Okay, now let's smooth this over. We have Jahmyr Gibbs off the board, 37. Okay, Alex says, what do we think about the Sky Moore news that dropped today? I said it's on Underdog, so let's pull this up. Sky Moore, the news is getting look as top slot man. Moore appears to be set to enter training camp as the Chiefs' top slot wide receiver after an impressive showing in mandatory minicamp last month. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Moore, obviously one of the most overdrafted players in fantasy a year ago. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same thing this season. But I don't know. Now, John coming out with the donation. Thank you so much, my man. Happy to see you out here in this live stream with us. Thank you. Now, ETN goes pick 40. Y'all know I'm a big Travis Etienne guy at this price. I mean, if ETN would have made it to us at 48, that would have just been absurd. Okay, so let's move this back around. You have Keenan Allen sliding down a bit here. Allen going pick 42 to Cosmos. Honestly, kind of best case scenario for him. You already make the bet on the Los Angeles Chargers by taking Austin Eckler. You need a wide receiver to fall. Keenan Allen falls 7 picks past ADP. Okay. Let's see. Burrow off the board, 45. Love to see Burrow go, right? Because we're not considering taking Joe Burrow here. And the Jamar Chase team most likely would have known that. So they wouldn't have taken Burrow at 47. They would have just taken him at 50. So it's really nice to see the T. Higgins team taking Joe Burrow. So it will push down a wide receiver to us. Hopkins goes, we're going to take Mike Williams here. We're not going to think about that too much. I think the next selection you can kind of be back and forth on. I don't necessarily see Christian Kirk, a completely different tier of the other guys that we're going to be looking at on the way back around. So I think we're going to reach a little bit on on TJ Hawkinson here. With Hawkinson, we'll make that consolidated bet with the Minnesota Vikings offense with Jefferson Hawkinson paired up together. And also, we can be looking at still going Dallas Goedert at the 6-7 turn and go with the pseudo bully tight end build. Okay. James says, Mahomes thinks Tony could be elite. Okay, so James, if y'all don't know, James been like a longer member of the flock than anybody here. I mean, James is an OG. So I'm going to have to back up Scorpion here, saying it's not like Mahomes will say a receiver is bad. Yeah. What is Mahomes supposed to say? Realistically speaking, if the media asks him about Kadarius Toney, is he supposed to go, yeah, no, Tony's not that good. Yeah, I mean, Tony is kind of a gadgety wide receiver. We can use him in a couple of different scenarios, but, you know, I don't really like the guy. Is that what he's supposed? What world would he ever say that? Ever. This is just going to be about the time of the year where we hear so many blurbs about so many different players, and you have to start preparing yourself for it. Kind of tune out the noise. Like if y'all remember last year, everybody was talking about how damn good Zamir White was going to be. Everybody was talking about Zamir White all of a sudden going out there and possibly being the starting running back in Las Vegas with Josh Hager was playing in the Hall of Fame game. I don't know. Now, Andrew says, are you planning on launching a redraft guide and redraft overall rankings this year? Love riding with the flock. 100%. We are going to have our redraft rankings. Those are dropping on flockfantasy.com later tonight. The redraft guide, I think we may have one on flockfantasy.com this year. I can't be guaranteeing that at this moment. We'll see how much time we have, but nonetheless, we for sure will have our redraft rankings live on flockfantasy.com tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll see. But we have Kenneth Walker making it all the way down to pick 58. Love that selection with Kenneth Walker there. Okay, so let's move this back around. Chris Godwin goes, so it looks like the biggest followers we've seen in this draft, at least in this range, according to ADP, were Kenneth Walker at 58, Christian Kirk at 53. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Simber says, does McKinnon rise with Pacheco headed to the P? I did not even see that. Wait, what? Isaiah Pacheco's going to the PP? Okay. Never mind. Isaiah Pacheco's not going to the PP, but Inner said that he will soon decide if Pacheco is starting training camp on an injured list. There's a big difference between Isaiah Pacheco missing the first 6 weeks and then him missing training camp. So definitely not good news for Isaiah Pacheco, but you had me a little bit nervous there. I thought Isaiah Pacheco was about to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. Thomas says there was a report saying a chance of 6 weeks in the P. There's no way in hell. There's no way it's like, oh, he may be ready for training camp next week, or he may miss the first 6 weeks of the season. I think it's either he may miss training camp or he may play training camp. I mean, it's probably my bad the way that I read it. I mean, just my fault on that front. Okay. We have Kadarius Toney going off the board 65 to the team that stacked Mahomes and Kelsey. Y'all know I'm not really looking to take Toney, even if I have Mahomes. So definitely on a team where I don't have Mahomes. Happy to see Kadarius Toney go off the board. Big thing that we're looking for at this pick is we're going to be looking to grab Dallas Goedert. Madison goes 68. Damian Pierce off 69. Miles Sanders goes 70. Okay, I can safely say that our decision to take TJ Hawkinson was a bad one, ladies and gentlemen. If we would have known that we would have had Kyle Pitts making it to us here at pick 72, I think it would have been a much better spot to go Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert here on the turn. But instead, I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take the combo of Dallas Goedert as well as Jahan Dotson. You can make an argument to go Goddard as well as DeAndre Swift if you really wanted. You know what? Let's do that. I think that will actually be a little bit of a unique combo as well. If you look at where the ADP lines up for these guys, you have both Dallas Goedert as well as DeAndre Swift with a mid-round 7 ADP. So there are not going to be too many builds that match this one in this overall tournament. So we're going to make those consolidated bets. We're going to bet that A, the Philadelphia Eagles offense is elite yet again with Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift. And we're going to bet that B, the Minnesota Vikings passing offense in particular is great with the combination of Justin Jefferson as well as TJ Hawkinson. And we'll look to later on in this draft go ahead and take Kirk Cousins as well. But Bush Sports, happy to see it. My man says, drafted while bowling earlier and got insane values. Pickett, 187, ADP 168. Debo, 43, ADP 34. I've seen Debo fall in there to the mid-4th a little bit. Van Jefferson, ADP should be around 1. Hawkinson, pick 67. It's a Kelsey team, so super 100%. If you have a Kelsey team and you're able to get Hawkinson at that kind of dip, that is going to be a team that has access to a unique path to the championship week. And I would be really, really excited about that, my friend. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Now let's move this over. Yeah, 20, I think, is going through and summarizing the Pacheco situation well. He'll still have a chance to not miss any games as long as he's activated before the season, but it's a worry nonetheless. And I've been drafting a lot of Isaiah Pacheco in these underdog drafts as well, so 100% need to temper expectations. But we are one like away from hitting 350 likes on this live stream. So go down there, drop a like. If we hit 350 likes, which clearly we will, we'll go ahead and fire up another draft after this one. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft after this, if you want to go hop in these underdog streets, now is the best time to do so with the public tournament being live. The $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool, $75,000 first place prize. Remember, the flock won last season. It's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. That's why it's the best place to get in some extra drafts besides the one that you mainly care about. And also, it's the best time to get on Underdog because they have the free Patrick Mahomes player prop line out right now for everybody, I believe, until July 22nd. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings at a free trial to flockfantasy.com. But let's move this over. Montgomery going down at pick 86. I'm interested to see how far Isaiah Pacheco falls in this draft, right? Like in my mind, I thought Isaiah Pacheco was a pretty strong value in round 8 before the news. Now, after the news, let's see where he goes. ADP 86. We're going to be picking at 96, 97. Is there consideration to take Pacheco there? Okay, let's see. Rashad Bateman off the board, pick 90. Tua goes 91. Tua wasn't really in play for us, right? Like, we're fine to see Tua go. Jonathan says 10% CEH, about to be a good investment. Hell, I'm pretty sure we're close to 10% Leonard Fournette, 10% Kareem Hunt. About to be a good investment. We'll see. We'll see. Now, you actually have Isaiah Pacheco getting drafted here. Isaiah Pacheco going off the board 89. So not a discount on Pacheco in this draft. Now, Thompson on the clock. Kamara goes 94. Y'all know I've been taking a considerable amount of Alvin Kamara. Oh my gosh. We have to take a wide receiver. Let me just think real quick. Do we want to get weird with it? How weird do we want to get? Hell, it's a $5 buy-in. We're going to be getting into some high-stakes drafts later on in the offseason. We're going to be in a lot of $250 drafts. And there we can't afford to mess around there, right? We have to have our draft strategy sorted out. We have to have tried everything before we hop into those $250 drafts. But the best way to use these $5 puppy drafts is to try out some new things, to have some practice with some different strategies. So we're going to see what it looks like to go RBRB here and have a start through the first 9 rounds of Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson, Zach Charbonnet at running back, Hawkinson, Goddard at tight end, Jefferson, Mike Williams at wide receiver. Definitely a super unique build. Definitely probably a really bad build at the same time. But nonetheless, we'll try it. We'll try it. And Riz coming out with a donation, thank you, says, 14-team, 1-quarterback dynasty PPR. We have Lamb, Higgins, Kenneth Walker, Johnston, Pickens, Montgomery, Dotson, Watson, Young, mid-draft eyeing tight ends. Is the year 2 tight end in Tennessee a good option? I would say not now. I mean, if you would have asked me before you would have had DeAndre Hopkins going over, I would have said yes, just because there was no wide receiver 2 in Tennessee. So there were a lot of targets go around. But now if you assume that Hopkins can go out there and Hopkins can see a 25-ish% team target share, there's probably not going to be a lot of room for tight end production in that offense. And to be honest with you, I'd probably pivot over and I would probably instead look at someone like Greg Dulcich. I'd probably just go in that direction as someone that was in a similar tier beforehand. I mean, if you're going to look at the tight ends in these underdog drafts, I mean, obviously we can assume that Pat Freiermuth is already off the board by the time you're asking this, but I think also Dalton Kincaid would be a little bit more appealing. If you could wait a little bit later and grab Cole Kmet, I'd rather do that as well. Okay. So let's move this down. Now, at this point, obviously, we are wanting to have wide receivers make it back to us. There's nothing we want more than wide receiver. Okay. 20 says, very weird team, but I don't hate it. To be honest with you, that's kind of what we're going for in these super large field underdog drafts. Weird teams that aren't horrible. That's the goal. A weird team that is not horrible. Okay. Brian Robinson goes 111. Really like that Brian Robinson pick. It's Ralphie asking if we have any $1,000 teams. Yes, we actually had a $1,000 draft a couple weeks back on the live stream. Maybe a week ago at this point. That draft was really exciting. That draft, we started off a CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Tony Pollard. And then I believe we went like Mike Williams, Brandon, I don't know. Wait, we then just slam wide receivers for like the next 5 rounds. Okay, Penny off the board, 114. Okay. Juju, 116. I'd have been ecstatic to have Juju Smith-Schuster make it to us. Damian Harris off the board, 117. Devon Achane goes as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Cousins for damn sure. And then we just have to grab a wide receiver, right? Like, there's not too much to discuss. Maybe you make the argument you want to push Jerick McKinnon up to this range, considering the fact you have the Pacheco news. But in reality, I mean, we need a wide receiver, so we can't really take Jerick McKinnon here. We'll just go ahead and we'll take Romeo Doubs instead as the wide receiver that's highest ranked according to ADP. It doesn't really make a difference for our roster construction one way or another. So this is going to be a team where we draft 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 9 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. Our wide receivers so far are Jefferson, Mike Williams, Romeo Doubs. Our running backs so far are Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson, Zach Charbonnet. Our tight ends so far, Hawkinson, Goddard. Our quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is double stacked with Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift, and Kirk Cousins, who is double stacked with TJ Hawkinson, as well as Justin Jefferson. So I don't hate the team. It's going to come down to, do we have wide receivers making it back around to us? If we can find wide receiver values, keep in mind we're going to take 9 of them. We have the anchor wide receiver with Justin Jefferson and hopefully a big year for Mike Williams. So we really just need to be finding some, like, say 6 or 7 guys to cycle through our wide receiver 3 slot. We'll see. I mean, I would say it's not the perfect construction, right? Like, this is never plan A going to a draft, but what plan A is to make a weird team that not a lot of people are going to be drafting while at the same time having access to upside. So it's not horrible. Not horrible. Okay. Now Dalton Kincaid goes 129. Daniel Jones off the board as well. Let's move it down. So at this point, we just pretty much want to see anything but wide receiver get drafted, right? Especially quarterbacks, tight ends is going to be the primary thing because we cannot take another quarterback in this draft. It doesn't matter the value. We cannot take another tight end in this draft. It doesn't matter the value. We're definitely going to be taking another running back. Now, with RB, we kind of have to save our spot, right? Because we only have one more spot left over for the running back position. So we don't want to just take any old running back. We definitely want to make sure it's someone that we are getting at what we perceive to be a pretty strong value, because we're not going to be able to take advantage of any other running back values once that goes. But we'll see. We'll see. James about to hop in a Hold'em tournament. Let's go. Good luck, my man. Good luck. Good luck. Okay. See, Jamal Williams off the board at 137. Van Jefferson goes 137. Not great for us, obviously. We would like to have Van Jefferson there. I mean, it is what it is. Can't necessarily sit here and cry about it. Tyler Algier goes 138. Rashee Rice off the board directly after. Okay, wide receivers, best available are Osborne, MVS, Alec Pierce. We have Dalton Schultz finally at the board. Russ still available. That's a little frustrating. Obviously, we can't take Russell Wilson. Osborne goes 142. What was the Miller news? Okay, Bigsby off. MVS is 100% a selection for us here, and I think our hands may be a little bit forced to grab our RB5 as well. Jalen Warren falls about 9 picks past ADP. We don't have any other wide receiver values we can be looking at. If we were to take, say, Alec Pierce compared to Jalen Warren, I mean, if Warren ADP 135, Alec Pierce ADP 153, would be sacrificing about 20 picks of ADP there. And we're going to go Marquez Valdes-Scantling over Alec Pierce. I understand some people may say, well, Mason, what about this Sky Moore news? Is Sky Moore good news, bad news for MVS? In reality, not this particular news, right? Because even if it is true, where Sky Moore is the slot wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, you would never have MVS as the slot wide receiver regardless. MVS is going to be that field stretching option that hopefully you get a random spike week from when you need it. So, yeah, I don't think the Sky Moore report has any impact on MVS whatsoever. But now we are exclusively wide receiver through the rest of this draft. We'll probably make our picks at the 14-15 turn, 16-17 turn, and then go ahead and hop into our next draft after this one. So, of course, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. So, it should be a pretty long stream tonight. Should be getting in about 3 or 4 drafts minimum. Okay, so now we finally have some freaking tight ends off the board. We have a run of about, 7-ish picks here. No wide receivers. Good. Hopefully this thing continues. Zach says, take Josh Downs, pick 18. I actually have been mixing in some Josh Downs. I think it just goes back to everybody being so freaking scared of this Indianapolis Colts offense. Our team is so weird. Please, hopefully we can get a wide receiver value. Okay, Chark goes 156. I would have been ecstatic to have DJ Chark. There's one player I think makes a lot of sense for our team if he ends up falling. Henry says the last Best Ball Mania winner was drafted on July 18th. That is today. Yes. So the team that won Best Ball Mania last year was drafted today. And there was also a team that had the highest regular season finish in Best Ball Mania that was also drafted on July 18th. And that team that won Best Ball Mania last year won, I believe, $2 million. And the team that had the highest regular season finish in Best Ball Mania last year won $1 million. So today's a pretty big day to get into underdog drafts. At least it was last year. Let's see. Okay. Charlie asking what happened with Sky. There's a report coming out saying that he looks like he's the slot wide receiver this next year for the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. Now Roshan off at 163. Deonta Foreman goes 164. Come on, give us some wide receiver values. Isaiah Hodgins off the board. Mostert goes. That team goes Tim Patrick. Jaden Reed was actually who we were wanting at wide receiver. We took Romeo Doubs. So by taking Jaden Reed, you can make a couple different bets. One, that bet being that maybe the Packers passing offense is just better than expected. And two, the other bet is what happens if Christian Watson goes down and all of a sudden Reed and Romeo Doubs are the only guys on this team. So I think it makes a little bit of sense to specifically have both those same guys on the same roster. And I think Tyquan Thornton is a little bit more appealing here now that you are looking at DeAndre Hopkins in Tennessee. So let's go ahead and let's show this off. Weird team. Don't love it. I'm happy that we got this in a $5 buy-in so we can practice for those higher stakes drafts once we get closer to the start of the year. But to show this off, I'm actually probably going to bounce from this, hop into the next puppy draft. I'm going to take 3 wide receivers in this draft. I will let you know who those 3 wide receivers end up being. But let's go ahead. Let's hop into a puppy draft here. $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool, $75,000 for first place. Y'all know a member of the flock won it last season. Let's get in here, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to be at pick 11. Okay, I was about to lose my mind because we had a day... I want to say a 2 to 3 week stretch where we started off the live stream pick 1, and then the following draft we were pick 12. So very similar, but this time we're pick 11 instead. Okay. Now... Fosho says pick 3 in another draft. Billy Moss also pick 11 in another draft. We have Gulls in here at pick 5. We have Steel Pin in here at pick 9. Happy to see y'all. Okay. Let's smooth this over. So Tampa Bucks, there aren't too many bad drafters in here. One thing I have noticed is as we're getting closer to the season, we've been in drafts with fewer people with badges, which I kind of like to see. I mean, it's not a big deal one way or another. But of course, y'all know, like, if you see a red and white badge next to someone's underdog dog, that means they've done 1,000 underdog drafts. If you see a black and white badge, that means they've done 500 underdog drafts. Okay. CMC off at 3. Tommy knows, member of the flock, says, did a new strategy called I want more. Build DJ, Sky, Elijah. Even with reaching, we have Deshaun Watson, Chubb, Gibbs, Dobbins, Diggs, and Chuck. Well, I'll say it's worth it for at least the screenshot. To go through and take all those guys, worth it for at least the screenshot. Okay. Let's smooth this over. We have Eckler off the board there at 7. Oh, crap. We're on the draft. We're on the clock in the other draft. That would have been horrible if we would have autoed a quarterback or something. Okay, we're going to take Hyatt and Wandale Rob. Oh, F me. The other draft, we were about to take Hyatt and Wandale, and we autoed Gesicki. God, Mason, you were such a dumbass. Oh, my gosh. It serves us right. But here, at least, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get our guy. We are going to take Bijan Robinson. Y'all know I've committed now. And anything less than a $250 draft, if we're picked 6 or beyond, Bijan Robinson's my pick. Hook 'em horns. Graduated from Texas. Saw him at the gym last week. So you better believe we're taking him. And you can make an argument, well, Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be a more unique pick than Devontae Adams. Honestly, we will make that argument. We'll take him. In general, I'm definitely drafting Devontae Adams over Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I mean, if you're looking at where these guys are going in drafts in general, Bijan Robinson in the majority of these drafts going off the board at pick 9, Amon-Ra St. Brown going off at like the 1-2 turn. Devontae Adams does fall a little bit more than Amon-Ra St. Brown, closer to the Bijan Robinson team. So in this overall tournament, there will be more starts of Bijan Robinson, Devontae Adams than there are of Bijan Robinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So even if I prefer Adams here, we're going to take St. Brown specifically so we can have that unique build, right? We'll have that unique build. Okay. And of course, real quick, I'm sorry if you have to hear this 10 times today, but we will be live streaming for 2 to 3 hours today. If you want to get into a draft with us, of course, you can find the link in the live chat. You can find the link in the description. This is Underdog. They are best ball tournaments, so no time commitment at all during the year. Now is definitely the best time for you to hop on Underdog because they have the puppy tournament live. That's going to be the best tournament for new Underdog drafters. And they also have the free Patrick Mahomes line out for everybody, I believe, until July 22nd. And of course, if you sign up, use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and it is available in all of these states. So pretty much every state, plus everywhere in Canada but Ontario. Okay. Hornpound says, Mason did not pull the trigger last year, but really considering now you have the promo code I can use, right? Congrats on your channel growth. Thank you, my friend. I'll also say, by far and away, the number one way that you can support this live stream and this channel, by far in a freaking way, is by using promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Like, there are a couple different reasons why this can be my full-time job, and I'm able to live stream every single day for over 200 days in a row. Underdog Fantasy is the main reason why we are able to do that. Okay, so let's move this over. You have Saquon Barkley going off the board at pick 20. Barkley's the main guy that I want to be watching here, seeing where he goes. That Chase team reaches a bit, but they get a unique combo of Chase, Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. A little bit painful for us now that we don't have the ability to take Lamar Jackson to pick 35. And in general, I am looking at Lamar a lot in that range. Okay. Let's see. NBF says, what is the most drafts you've done in one live stream? So definitely would be in the 24-hour live stream we did last year. Last year, we did a 24-hour live stream for hitting 100,000 subs on the channel. I'm going to do another 24-hour live stream if we hit 200,000 subscribers on the channel before NFL kickoff. And I don't know how many drafts we did in that. I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you, my friend. I mean, I'd say each draft takes about 40-ish minutes, so we probably did about 40 drafts. Most likely. Ridley off the board. We're going to take Deebo Samuel. I know a lot of people don't like Deebo Samuel. I don't really like Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, I mean, going into year 10 now, Keenan Allen added on target competition with Quentin Johnston. So we're going to go Deebo, and I honestly kind of want to just take Najee. I know most people are going to go ahead. They're going to take probably Keenan out and then fourth round like Jerry Jeudy, but I'd rather have Deebo and Harris. Dog says that 24-hour live stream was epic. I have no idea how I did that. And no idea how I did the 24-hour live stream. And yeah, I have no idea how y'all hung out with us that long as well. I mean, there were a few people in that 24-hour live stream that were with us for about 20 or so hours. I can't remember if there was anybody that was with us for all 24, but they were pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. Keenan Allen off the board at 39. Okay. Weston says you were in La La Land towards the end. Yeah, I mean, my throat hurt so bad that I was having to go pee every 10 seconds with how much water I was chugging. Also, I had probably, in a span of 24 hours, like 500 milligrams of caffeine. It was tough. And then I lost my voice a couple weeks after because of the 24-hour live stream. But Mr. Cloud says, over-under on sparkling waters in a 24-hour stream. Yeah, last year, we didn't have the sparkling water addiction. So last year, we had 0. But this year, if we do another 24-hour live stream, which I don't know if we'll hit 200,000 subscribers. To be honest with you, I do not think we will hit 200,000 subscribers before the season. And to be honest with you, that's where I'm putting the goal, because I don't really want to do another 24-hour live stream. It destroyed us last year, if y'all remember. Okay. Now, London off the board, 95. Burrow goes 46. Super weird to see this, right? Generally, you're kind of faced with the decision if you take an elite level quarterback at the 2-3 turn, whether that's Mahomes, Allen, say Jalen Hurts. If you take one of those elite level quarterbacks and you also have T. Higgins or you also have Jamar Chase, the question is, all right, well, do I take a Joe Burrow there at the 4 or 5 turn? Even if we already took the elite level quarterback, doesn't make sense to grab the elite level stack. But I don't know. Taking Burrow at pick 46 when you took Jalen Hurts at pick 27 and you have no Jamar Chase and you have no T. Higgins, that makes like no sense in my mind. Okay. Ross Kretz says, yeah, 500 milligrams of caffeine isn't that much for 24 hours. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming from someone who used to drink energy drinks before every workout. Please, don't be taking that much caffeine. Don't be taking 500 milligrams a day. Please don't do that. And now, Jeep Guy says, when are we tweeting at Mr. Beast to blow this? Oh, well, next month. Next month, we'll try to get Mr. Beast in a draft. I'm assuming it will not be successful, but we're going to try our best. Duke says, maybe make a sub video like PewDiePie used to do, 30,000 plus subs. What is a sub video? What is that? What is that? Now, Fields off the board at pick 53. Let's swing this back around. So far our team is Bijan, Najee, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel. So we have a lot of flexibility with what we can be doing here at pick 59 as well as pick 62. Sumo Bro says, the more people subscribe, the longer you live stream. I saw that being a thing. My editor showed me Ludwig, who got big from doing like a subathon. You know, if I could set that up on YouTube, I would do it, but it would most likely be YouTube memberships. I don't know if we would be doing just straight subscribers. Bush Sports just hit $1,000 invested into Campbell. Oh, dear God, my man. Rooting for you. Okay. Now, Godwin off the board, 57. Bad Bruin went Wilson, Adams, Ridley, Keenan Allen. I don't know if they're on auto. I guess actually they're not. They took Garrett Wilson a little bit before ADP. Everybody else, they've taken just highest ranked player according to ADP. They do it again with Hollywood here. I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take another wide receiver with Hollywood Brown at pick 59. We're just going to see what makes it back around to us. Dotson goes 60. Definitely a unique pick there for Dotson. Treylon Burks goes 61. Does this mean we may see wide receivers get pushed up with those teams at the beginning of round one not having access to these guys that they're generally used to taking? I think you could make that argument, but I'm not going to overthink it. We're just going to take George Kittle. I like 6th round George Kittle. We'll take 6th round George Kittle. But what I was saying is, like, if we would have taken Jackson Smith and Jigba there, and all of a sudden, if you were looking at the wide receiver draft room, those teams at the beginning part of the draft, where they're usually taking Dotson, Treylon Burks, they no longer had access to those wide receivers. Would they have then had to reach on guys like Brandon Cooks, Quentin Johnston, and all of a sudden we would have seen a little bit of a run on wide receivers? I don't know. Maybe you can go back and forth and make that argument that we should have pushed the envelope on wide receiver and maybe taken Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm going to keep it simple. We've already bet on the 49ers passing offense with Deebo Samuel. I like George Kittle. George Kittle probably outscores Jackson Smith and Jigba straight up this next season. And if we're going to get him at tight end in comparison to wide receiver, we probably want to go ahead and pull the trigger there. Jack says, do you still chat with Scissors? I remember him in the streams last year, or am I tripping? No, I think Scissors, he hung out with us a bunch in live streams 2 years ago, stopped by last year. I think he started live streaming again, so he is no longer hanging out. That's a good idea. I could go ahead and DM him and ask him to hop in a fantasy football draft with us. Duke says, just hit 500 invested into Jefferson. Hopefully he pans out. My man, that's a risky bet. Justin Jefferson, you sure about that guy? Sure about that guy? Chris, happy to see you, my man. Thank you so much for coming by the live stream. Okay, let's move this back around. Michael Pittman off the board. Yeah, so it looks like wide receivers aren't being pushed up too much, right? I mean, you have Evans, 66. Lockett making it all the way down to 68. Lockett really never goes 68 here. And Pittman going down to 70. I mean, now if you're looking at the wide receivers, you have Addison, Tony, Gabe Davis, George Pickens. But still, you didn't see some crazy run on wide receiver. Okay. Jordan Addison goes off the board, 73. I feel like we have a very well-balanced team with Bijan, Najee at running back, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Hollywood at wide receiver, Kittle at tight end that we're not really having to sit here and root for anything in particular, right? We can pretty much just take the board as it falls. Had a dream that Lance went to the Raiders and took the starting position from Jimmy G like he did to Lance. Okay. I was thinking about this, and I know this is going to be one of the most hated things that has ever been said on YouTube. So I understand I'm probably being an idiot, but bear with me. Bear with me. The 49ers drafted Trey Lance number 3 overall because they didn't think Garoppolo was good or athletic enough to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, to win them the Super Bowl. The year before, they traded 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance. I mean, Jimmy G was coming off 2 back-to-back seasons with 8.3 and 7.2 adjusted yards per pass attempt. If you're going to compare this to what Brock Purdy did, Brock Purdy was at 8.6. I don't know. Like, how much better is Brock Purdy than Jimmy Garoppolo at the time they drafted Lance? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. We're going to go Montgomery, especially now if we don't want to be taking Isaiah Pacheco here, given his injury update. So I think it makes sense to go David Montgomery and not really think twice about it. And we're also going to go Darren Waller and go with another pseudo-bully tight end strategy here with Kittle 62, Darren Waller 86. Really do like that. But LeBron James says got Mike Evans at 85 still. Oh my gosh. If you got Mike Evans 85, yes. That's a phenomenal, phenomenal value on Evans, my man. Okay. Now, let's move this down. Papa says, Purdy came in and just nailed the system. Not more athletic, just fits better. See, that's my thought process. Did Jimmy Garoppolo not nail the system whenever Jimmy Garoppolo took over as the starter in San Fran? And this is a legitimate question, right? Like I'm saying, I would be very surprised if anybody agrees with me. I'm most likely an idiot. But, I mean, the first entire season Jimmy Garoppolo started 16 games. He went 13-3. Like, you can kind of say the same thing about Jimmy G stepping in and quote-unquote nailing the system, at least in my mind. But Darius says, do return yards/touchdowns count for players on Underdog? 100% yards do not. Return touchdowns, maybe? Not exactly sure. I'm not really drafting with return touchdowns in mind, though. Okay. Okay. Now, don't even really know what we want. We want to see tight ends go, right? Like, we would rather have both Pat Freiermuth and David Njoku off the board before the time that we're back up on. But outside of that, I mean, there's not too much that we need to fall to us. I mean, we're kind of fine with anything, right? JN coming out. Hey, let me know, my man. 1, have you drafted a team on Underdog this year? 2, if you have you drafted Devin Duvernay? I pray the answer to that question is, the second question in particular is no. Really hope you were not drafting Devin Duvernay this season. But obviously last year, phenomenal 18th round pick. But let me know, my man. Okay, so Elijah Moore makes it all the way down to 95. Very, very rarely you're going to see Elijah Moore fall this far. James Cook goes. So in terms of stacking options with our team, we're looking at Lance with Debo, Kittle. We're looking at Daniel Jones with Darren Waller. We're looking at Kyler. We're looking at Goff. We have a lot of different options. Okay, so let's move this down. Charbonnet off the board, 99. Now, what's going to be interesting is how far does Tua fall in this draft? Okay, never mind. Tua finally off the board there, pick 100. I was going to say Tua falling a considerable amount at this point. Okay. Cindy says, smash that like. Yes, if y'all have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 800 likes, we are going to go ahead and fire up another draft after this one. Okay. And Njoku off the board. Great for us, as we were discussing. Boyd goes 103. Jay and sadly has 0% Devin Duvernay. Probably the right call, my friend. Probably the right call. Okay. Frymuth goes great for us. Perfect. Now, I don't want to say too much just in case this team is watching the live stream. NBF says, is the YouTube Flocker linked to the one on the Flock website? No, it is not. So the one on the Flock website is main one. I'd say flockfantasy.com, promo code Flock. Main place to get all our rankings and everything. If it's a YouTube Flocker, like the YouTube membership, that's more so just about like supporting the channel. If you hang out in the drafts a lot, hang out in the live streams a lot with us, want to have some custom emojis. We're going to do a lot of streams once we get closer to the season. Like if we start having streams with 1,000+ people watching live at once, we'll probably have to turn on a lot of those streams, especially when they're live Q&As, to member-only live stream. So it's more just the live stream thing. I'd say by far and away the main thing is flockfantasy.com, my friend. But we're going to go Sky Moore with the news that Sky Moore is going to be playing in the slot. I think his ADP skyrockets, and this will probably be one of the last times we're able to draft him at this price tag. And then honestly, I don't love reaching to get our stacks, but in general, y'all know I'm not a fan of Samaje Perine. I don't really know how much Rashad Penny does for us here. I think Daniel Jones can give us some spike weeks. If y'all don't know, I had a team get 16th place in Best Ball Mania last year, and that won us $10,000. And a big reason for that was we took Daniel Jones, and he had that massive spike week in week 17. So we have Darren Waller, so we'll go ahead. We will take Daniel Jones here. I think it makes a little bit of sense. Just in comparison, I understand we're reaching, but the guys we're passing on for him, are they exciting? We really going to regret by the time we get to weeks 15, 16, 17 and need that elite level ceiling. We really going to regret passing on Samaje Perine. We really going to regret passing on Rashad Penny. I don't know. I doubt it. And also, we grab Daniel Jones here. This does give us the ability to only draft 2 quarterbacks if we really want to. Yes, I know. We got your guy, my man. Koala coming out, dropping some reaches on us. Yes, I'm not going to deny it. We did reach. Not going to deny it. Okay. Now we have a little bit of a run on wide receiver, Odell, Zay Jones, Romeo Doubs. I would say once Brian Robinson goes off the board, nobody else here is that exciting. I don't know. But MBF, welcome to being a Flocker, my man. Super happy to have you. Thank you so much for hanging out in these live streams with us so damn often. Thank you. Now, Penny off the board. Devon A-Chain, Allen Lazard as well. Penny and Lazard, they fall past ADP, right? But, with where they go here, it doesn't even seem like they're great values, It is what it is. Now, Honestly, with Hopkins going over to Tennessee, I would say Juju Smith-Schuster is someone that I'd probably rather have over those other options. I mean, if you are looking at Juju, right, he is the solidified wide receiver 1. He hasn't done anything in a while. It's a bad situation, but still, I mean, come on. You're getting him like wide receiver 50. Like, pretty sure if we find one of Juju Smith-Schuster's seasons, he's had more receiving yards in a single season than Lazard maybe has had his entire NFL career. Jeep Guy asking how many members we're at. I think we have like 30 members on YouTube now. We have a ton compared to where we were at like a month ago. Okay, let's move this over. Cousins makes it past the Justin Jefferson team there. So it's going to be really interesting is how far Kirk Cousins falls. So yeah, the team that took Justin Jefferson pick 1 has Josh Allen, and they decided to take Nico Collins as well as Elijah Mitchell over Kirk Cousins. So where is the Jordan Addison or where is the TJ Hawkinson team? I can't even find these teams. Who the hell drafted Addison or Hawkinson? The team right before us took Hawkinson, so I think we can assume that they probably go ahead and grab Kirk Cousins. But they reached 20 picks to get an unstacked Deshaun Watson. I don't really know if we can assume that they do anything. Cousins at this point now about 24 picks past ADP. Greg Dulcich off the board. Good for us. We're not looking at tight end. We are essentially quarterback, running back, wide receiver through the rest of this draft. Okay. Kirk Cousins finally off the board, unstacked. Actually, no, they have Alexander Madison. Yeah, if you have Madison and you get Cousins 26 picks past ADP. I'm an idiot. 16 picks past ADP. I can't do math. I think you just kind of have to pull the trigger there. Okay, Jamal Williams goes, we're going to go ahead and take Rondale Moore. We have Hollywood Brown. We could set ourselves up with the possible double stack there in Arizona. Essentially make the bet that you may end up having Kyler Murray coming back earlier than people expect. But we have another person who's out here every single day in the live stream with us, joining the flock. Thank you so much, Scott. Really, really do appreciate you. Yeah, looks like more and more people out here are members of the flock now. We got Jeep Guy. We have Bush Sports. Tony Shaw. Love to see it. MMG. Awesome. Happy to see you out here, my man. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Goff. I mean, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown. What's interesting is when we take Goff, at this point, are we interested in going ahead and taking Kyler Murray and still grabbing 3 quarterbacks, even if we took these 2 guys a little bit early, right? I mean, rounds 10, round 12. We probably still can go ahead and take Kyler Murray. I don't necessarily think that we have invested too much, especially since we are only spending 2 roster spots on tight end as well. But, yes, MMG out here. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okay. JP says, take Will Clapp for MMG. I'll take Will Clapp. Duke says, you have to get in a draft with him. Been watching since 2015. Awesome. Okay. Now, we'll see Mingo off the board at 139. And of course, MMG is more than welcome to come on and draft with us whenever he wants. swing this back around. So you have Kincaid falling. Obviously not great. I mean, we can assume Kincaid's off the board by the time that we're back up, right? But just in general, when you're seeing one of those tight ends fall like this, it makes it a little less likely that Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett are both off by the time that we are back up with our pick. We still need 2 more running backs with this team as well. So I think this is going to be a build where we go 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot here. Kincaid off. I think on the way back around, if we want to take Kyler, we'll have to take him with our next selection, right? We'll either have to take Kyler Murray with pick 155, unless like an extreme value makes it to us that we feel like we can't pass up on, then we can gamble that we get Kyler Murray on the way back around at pick 158. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Marvin Mims goes. So that team decides to stack Russ with Mims. I think we can assume that they're going to be looking at Tim Patrick a little later on. And of course, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We're going to be firing up another draft after this one. And of course, if you want to get in said draft, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy literally every single day until 2024. Now is the best time to hop into drafts on Underdog. Their best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. Plus, they have the puppy tournament live. It's a $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool. First place, $75,000. Remember, the flock won that last year. Plus, they have a free Patrick Mahomes line up until July 22nd. So everybody, please make sure you're taking advantage of that with the link in the live chat description comment section. Use promo code FLOCK and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And yes, Nick out here flexing on us. Nick is the one who won that $75,000 last year. So congrats, my man. Congrats. Now, Alec Pierce off the board. I know who we want at pick 155. I don't know if he makes it to us. We'll see. We'll see. So a couple of quarterbacks in ADP may kind of be guarding Kyler Murray here, right? Let's be a little more quiet. Let's see what happens. Okay, Osborne goes 152. That was the team that took Kirk Cousins at an extreme value. They're also getting Osborne past ADP. Now Rice goes. Rice is who I wanted. We had Sky Moore, so we can make a couple different bets. We could say, okay, well, what if the Kansas City Chiefs lead the NFL in passing yards, which is 100% a possibility? What if Tony's not good? What if Kelsey gets hurt? Like, there are a couple different ways that both of those guys could pan out. Bad run on the clock. Renfro goes. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take MVS for the reasons that we were saying we wanted Rashee Rice to pair him up with Sky Moore. And we're going to be looking at Kyler Murray on the way back around. Okay. Give us Kyler. Come on. There you go, Curtis Samuel. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Kyler Murray here. Pick 158 to get the double stack with Hollywood Brown as well as Rondale Moore. So generally, we're not taking 3 quarterbacks this early. If we're going to go with the 3 QB build, we're looking at guys like maybe in round 17, round 18. But really, really like this team, to be honest with you. I mean, we are currently sitting with Bijan Robinson, Najee Harris, David Montgomery at running back. Wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Hollywood Brown, Sky Moore, Rondale Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Tight end, we have Kittle, Darren Waller. And quarterback, we have Daniel Jones stacked with Darren Waller. We have Jared Goff stacked with the Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we have Kyler Murray double stacked with Rondale Moore as well as Hollywood Brown. So I actually really like this. Really, really like this team. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Did not realize we did not have audio. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was talking about how I really don't see what that team at 10's doing. And generally, I give the benefit of the doubt to those teams with badges, right? Like if you have a white and black badge, that means you've done 500 drafts on Underdog. I mean, but if we're looking at this, they have Deshaun Watson, 63, unstacked. Not only do they have an unstacked Deshaun Watson at pick 63, but then you go ahead and you take Richie James at 159. Like, what the hell are we doing here, right? What are we doing? But Finn coming out. Happy to see him, my man. Says, glad to be back in Flock Nation yet again. Drafted a weekly winner with Burrow, Barkley, Mixon, Chase, Hopkins, Pittman, Flowers, Jameson, with Waller and McBride at tight end. Let me know your thoughts. I really like it. I like having the double stack there with a Burrow, Mixon, Chase. Generally, I'm not like the best guy when it comes to weekly winners. I think that it doesn't necessarily suit my skill set and is more so for DFS style players. Now, definitely once we have some more information on weekly winners, I'll be a lot more confident going through and breaking down those teams a ton. I'll just say in general with weekly winners, you definitely want to be going after your stacks, which you get with Burrow, Mixon, Chase. And on top of this, you definitely want to go ahead and you want to go a little bit slimmer at quarterback and tight end than you would want in a regular underdog draft, right? Okay, let's see. Kenny Pickett off 171. Great for us to see any quarterback get drafted. We are just running back, wide receiver from here on out. Jaden Reed goes. I definitely would have taken Jaden Reed if he would have made it to us. Togan says, first time catching a live draft. Happy to see you, my man. Trey says, get in a draft. And Togan says, is it available in Florida? Yes, Underdog is available in Florida. I lived in Florida last year. These are the states Underdog is available in pretty much everywhere, my friend. And find that link in the live chat description, comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% of pause and match, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. Now, the team before us only has one QB, one tight ends. Steel pinned 2 picks before us, only has 1 tight end. So I think there's a chance we get a wide receiver or a running back falling to us here. Ezekiel Elliott off the board. Steel pin takes Deonta Foreman. I was hoping we had Foreman falling to us, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, Bad Bruin. You'd assume they'd be looking QB tight end here, but you never know. They go Tim Patrick. I think we're going to go Isaiah Hodgins with the possibility of taking Paris Campbell on the way back around. Keep in mind, we have Daniel Jones, so we want to continue to make bets on this New York Giants passing offense. Nick, 100%. If we do another 24-hour live stream, you got to come on with us, my friend. We're going to take Paris Campbell here as well. So have that full Daniel Jones onslaught with the New York Giants. And our round 17, round 18 selections will be running backs. So let me go ahead and let me show you this draft board. I'll queue up 2 running backs for round 17, round 18, and then we're going to go ahead and hop in that draft. But pretty excited about this team in general. I think it's a weird, unique team that makes a lot of sense. But let's move this over. We're going to be getting in a fast puppy draft here. And Jeep Guy says, who's in for a Flock Mod PPR 12-team league for Mason to review? Rec, Nick, Mark Ward, Prod, Michael, Nash, Henry, etc. Y'all can set that up in the Discord. I'm not doing any of the work setting that up. I already have way too much on my plate. But yeah, if y'all go ahead and get a flock draft underway, I'd be happy to go through and make a video about it, my friends. But we're at pick 6 here, so we are going to cue it up like this, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we're looking. We'll see what happens, but goals in here at pick 7. Love to see it. Brett was predicting we got pick 4, and not too far. Not too far. Let's see. NBF out here, pick 2 with us. Happy to see you. Connor in here at 8 as well. Jose says, how many teams do you draft on average every season? So I've played in about 20 plus dynasty leagues every year since 2014. But with underdog drafts, now obviously since it's best ball and no time commitment at all during the year, I've been drafting way more teams. Like I drafted like 700 teams last year. And this year I'll probably end up drafting like 500 teams on underdog, most likely. The main reason being why we're scaling back from like 700 last year to 500 this year is last year, like the main time I would draft teams off the live stream would be at the gym. Like if I was on the Stairmaster or something, killing time. But now I'm training for an Ironman, so I don't really do the same thing. I don't go to the Stairmaster anymore. But we're going to take Cooper Kupp here off the board at 6. So, yeah. Let's lock him in. I thought we were going to take Bijan Robinson. I thought we were going to throw up a hook 'em horns, but nonetheless, not going to cry about getting Cooper Kupp at pick 6. Obviously, a wide receiver that can be the wide receiver 1 this next season. Okay. Connor says 20-second delay when Fantasy for Dummies asking if we're on a delay. I don't think so. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up the live stream on my phone, and I will try to figure out exactly how much of a delay that we are on. Okay, yeah, we are way beyond on there. Okay, how about this? I will. Okay, I think we were about on a 5 or 6 second delay, according to what my phone looks like. But CeeDee Lamb off the board 12, Devontae Adams off the board at 13. Now, in general, whenever we get a pretty strong value with like Cooper Kupp at pick 6, we're essentially just going to go ahead and take whoever falls highest in ADP. The reason being is very few teams are going to have access to Cooper Kupp this late. So we want to pair up Cooper Kupp with like Jalen Waddle. The reason being is if Waddle has an ADP of 16, Kupp has an ADP of 4, this will be the lowest percentage of crossover of all teams in the tournament. There are not going to be many teams at all that have the combo of Cooper Kupp as well as Jalen Waddle. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to start off Kupp, Waddle, and y'all know I'm a massive Waddle fanboy, so I'm very excited about this. Now, what's interesting is in this draft, you're seeing some other pretty strong values. You had Garrett Wilson making it all the way down to 17 with the Travis Kelce team. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown making it all the way down to 18 with the Stephon Diggs team. So let's get this going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this going. Okay, yeah, I'm excited about the start. Uncle Fresh says, how important are bye weeks? They don't matter. I'd say in your regular fantasy football leagues, bye weeks don't matter. In your dynasty fantasy football leagues, bye weeks don't matter. In your best ball drafts, unless it's a weekly winners tournament, bye weeks don't matter. Okay. Let's move this down. Andrew's off the board there at 28. See what Chris does. He went Eckler, pick 5. Higgins at pick 20. So you don't really know what he's going to do. I mean, he can do pretty much anything. He goes Josh Jacobs. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take DK Metcalf. Start 3 wide receivers out the gate here. Okay, in that other draft, we just took Leonard Fournette. And we're either going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Kareem Hunt as our 5th running back, whoever falls. Holy hell, Michael Thomas off the board, 33. Y'all know we saw Michael Thomas in a draft the other day go at pick 6. Oh my gosh. Just wild, ladies and gentlemen. Goal says, can't believe Michael Thomas is in our draft again. I can't either, my friend. I can't. Squeaky Clean says, got to be a fat finger. Do y'all know, did that run out of time? Like, did he put Michael Thomas in the queue and he ran out of time before he made his selection? Or did Michael Thomas just get drafted like that? Yeah, everybody's spamming value. Everybody hitting it with the value. Okay, so let's move this over. So now we have the start of Kupp, Waddle, DK Metcalf. Clearly extremely wide receiver heavy. Y'all know in general, I do like these 4th round running backs. So I'm fine if we have a running back making it to us. If not, it is what it is. Henry says he just replayed it and he picked him. Interesting. He took Michael Thomas within 10 seconds. Okay, Jones on the clock. Bijan, Saquon Barkley. Then they go ahead. The team that took Michael Thomas takes our guy away from us, takes Travis Etienne. Y'all know I'm a big Etienne fanboy, so it is what it is. Steve says, I once fat-fingered Rex Burkhead at the 101. Ended up making the playoffs anyway. If that was like in a friends and family league and they made you keep Rex Burkhead at the 101, I would no longer be friends with those people. It was like a friends and family league and I accidentally took Rex Burkhead in the 1st round. And they're like, oh, nope. We can't reverse it. You're a first-round pick. I would be like, okay, I'm never talking to y'all ever again. But Nick says, was able to start a puppy, Tyreek, Waddle, Stevenson. We're able to stack 2 at a value as well. Hopefully another winner. Also, we got to hit 1,000 subs. Being a guest would be awesome. No. Thank you so much, my man. And yes, that's incredible. Honestly, not going to lie to you, I probably prefer Kupp, Waddle, Metcalf, Christian Watson. I don't know. We'll see if we get running back values, but I think this is exciting. Okay. Burrow goes pick 50. Few different names I'm looking at. Aaron Jones goes. Aaron Jones wasn't someone that we were too excited about. Not going to sit here and cry about that. Okay. Isco on the clock. They go Ayuk. Christopher goes Deontay Johnson. So we're going to take Justin Fields. Hell yes. Getting Justin Fields at pick 54 is pretty much a no-brainer given the week-to-week ceiling that you have with Fields. Y'all know I think there's an extremely wide range of outcomes with Justin Fields. And I'll be the first person to admit, I do not think Justin Fields is a good real-life quarterback. To be honest with you, I don't think he is. But I can also be honest and say on the other end of the spectrum that very few players have the same upside as Justin Fields from a fantasy football perspective, given his rushing upside, given the improvements the Chicago Bears made this offseason. So even if I don't necessarily think that he's a great real-life player, at pick 54 in fantasy football in particular, when fantasy football is fake football, beautiful, beautiful selection. Super excited about it. Okay. Now, obviously, we're looking for running backs over the next few rounds. And I think, given how ADP works out, we may be able to get some. Let's see. Hochberg also went 4 wide receivers out the gate. They started Lamb, Adams, Keenan, Judy. So let's see what they do here. They go Dobbins. 20 says, shocked that Team 3 passed on the Moore field stack there. They have Josh Allen, so I mean, it's not the most surprising thing in the world, right? It's not the most surprising thing in the world. Okay. JSN off the board, 62. Duke says Justin Herbert or Justin Fields. Be honest, chat. I would say from a fantasy football perspective in 2023 leagues, I'm going to go Justin Fields over Justin Herbert. Obviously, from a real life perspective, I would go Herbert over Fields. But obviously, fantasy football, real life, they're two different things, and we shouldn't treat them as if they're the same. Okay, Lockett goes 65. Hockey Ant goes Alexander Madison. Not a big Akers guy. If you look at my rankings, I actually have Damian Pierce ranked over Cam Akers. But if I was going to take Akers over Damian Pierce, I think it makes sense to do so on a team where we take Cooper Kupp, because one of the concerns that you have with Kupp is the same concern that you have with Cam Akers, is that maybe the Los Angeles Rams are just going to be a bad football team going forward. Obviously, that's not a guarantee, and if that doesn't happen, both these guys can hit. So if we make the bet on Cooper Kupp in round 1, we're making a bet that the Rams aren't going to be a horrible team this next season. So might as well double down on that bet. That way, if we get the Kupp one right, we also get the Akers one right. So we will go ahead and we'll take Cam Akers here, pick 67. AWOL says Rams will be fine. So I thought the Rams were going to be pretty damn good this next year. And then I saw the Las Vegas win total for them. It was like 6.5. I was like, oh, okay. It's a little concerning. Now Berg's off the board. Let's move this down. Montgomery, 75. So if Lawrence were to make it to us, can we take Trevor Lawrence? Obviously, we don't have Ridley. Obviously, we don't have Kirk. But we could be looking at Ingram later on. We could be looking at Zay Jones later on. We go Lawrence, we're only taking 2 quarterbacks. Lawrence goes, so honestly, we're not going to have a difficult decision here. Y'all know I love Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert falls to us. Bada boom, bada bang. Okay, so Team where we start 4 wide receivers out the gate. Last 3 rounds, we go ahead and we take quarterback, running back, tight ends. Wide receiver room, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf, Christian Watson. Quarterback, we have Justin Fields. Running back, we have Cam Akers. Tight end, we have Dallas Goedert. Pretty damn excited about this, to be honest. Pretty excited. Okay. Let's move this over. Swift goes off the board, 81. I do like this Pickens value now. If you're comparing him to the other wide receivers, I was expecting Pickens to be a sell high guy this year, but honestly, surprised, impressed how the market is just going through and pushing Pickens so far down. And Deontay Johnson so far up. I want to look at ESPN ADP in comparison to Underdog ADP when it comes to Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. Deontay's 23 on ESPN. Pickens is 37 on ESPN. Dear God. Pickens there is going after Cooks, Michael Thomas. Freaking wild. Riley says, what are the expectations for Jordan Love this next year? I would be lying to you if I told you I knew what to expect with Jordan Love. I literally have no idea. I mean, we can go and look at his player props on Underdog. Jordan Love, they have for 20.5 passing touchdowns, 3,200 passing yards, and 13.5 interceptions. Some guys, I just have to admit that I don't know who they are. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Jordan Love was drafted in 2020, and we've seen him start 2 games. So I'd be... Whatever I could say about Jordan Love, you should not take seriously. Okay. Brandon Cooks off 87. Connor off the board. I think we're actually going to go ahead and take Javonte Williams here. I mean, if you're looking at Javonte, a lot of people are pricing it in that he's going to miss a large chunk of this next year. But similar to how we were taking a lot of Alvin Kamara past pick 100, I mean, there's always a chance that people are wrong. There's always a chance that it's actually an okay value to go ahead and take the player that has the upside shot, even if the floor is a little uncertain, especially in a tournament-style contest like this. So, yeah, let's go Javonte 91. Let me know what you would have done there. I have been mixing in a lot of Dalvin Cook as well, just in case. Say, Dalvin Cook does end up going to Miami or something. Seriously, how funny would it be if Dalvin were to sign a $3 million deal with the Giants this next year? Okay. Let's move this down. Tua's 100% in play, considering the fact that we took Waddle in round 2, of course. Zach Charbonnet off the board at 98. Tua goes. Okay, that's the team that took Tyreek, I'm almost certain, right? Yeah. Never guaranteed to get to a past the Tyreek Hill team. It is what it is, right? I mean, we still have other options here. We still need a running back as well. Evan Ingram goes. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to pull the trigger on a running back here. We will take A.J. Dillon, pick 102. I mean, Dillon kind of solves a couple different things for us, right? I mean, if you're looking at A.J. Dillon, this is a running back that will have a role on a week-to-week basis. So he gives us some kind of floor with his fantasy points. But at the same time, I mean, if we were to have, say, I don't know, an Aaron Jones injury, then all of a sudden Dillon possibly could be a top 10 running back, you know? Yeah. We'll take Dillon there, 102. Now, the question is, if P. Ryan makes it back to us, do we mix in Samaje Perine with the Javonte Williams team to possibly try to sneak a Javonte Williams team into the fantasy football playoff tournament? So we'll see. Frymuth off the board, 107. Definitely would have taken either Njoku or Frymuth if they would have made it to us. Terms of quarterbacks we can be looking at, Geno Smith would pair up with DK Metcalf. Daniel Jones gives us some rushing upside, and we can look at a stack later on. Kirk Cousins doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Hochberg does go Daniel Jones there, 108. I think this team's been auto-drafting every pick. See. Let me show off the board just in case anybody's just coming in here. So wide receiver, we have Kupp, Waddle, Metcalf, Christian Watson. Quarterback, we have Fields. Running back, we have Akers, Javonte Dillon. And tight end, we have Goddard. Okay, so we have a couple RBs off the board here. This team has two quarterbacks with Herbert and Dak, so they can't really take another. They only have two wide receivers with Debo, Brandon Cooks, so you assume they have to go wide receiver here, right? Yeah, they take Odell Beckham Jr. This is the team that takes Geno Smith. They didn't have JSN. They didn't have Tyler Lockett. I don't really understand the Geno Smith selection in that case. Brian Robinson, 113, definitely who we were wanting. So we'll go ahead. We're actually going to pivot over to Juju Smith-Schuster here. I think Juju should rise a bit with DeAndre Hopkins going over to Tennessee. So, yeah. I mean, obviously, Juju's not the most exciting player in the world, but pick 115 once our main guys in Geno Smith, Brian Robinson are both off. Like, I don't hate taking Juju Smith-Schuster over Romeo Doubs. Jeep Guy asking if we can link the Flock Discord. Yeah, I mean, just in case if y'all aren't in the Discord already, you can find the link on flockfantasy.com. It's at the very top. But I will grab a link as well for everybody here. I just spammed that link in the live chat. Hopefully that works for everybody. Yeah, I just naturally assumed that everybody here was already in our Discord. Yeah, it should be in the description as well. Okay, so Cousins goes to the Jefferson team. Swing this back around. And we are all out of water, so this is code red. Elijah Mitchell off the board, 122. I would have been excited about having Elijah Mitchell make it to us at 126. Clearly, our team still needs another running back on the squad. We will be taking a total of 6 running backs with this team. Aaron Rodgers, not really in play for us. We don't have Lazard. We don't have Garrett Wilson. We don't have Breece Hall. I don't necessarily want to pigeonhole ourselves into taking Tyler Conklin later on. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think we're taking Rodgers here. And yes, this is looking like it is possibly a Jordan Love team. McKinnon goes 124. Definitely was considering Jarrett McKinnon here, considering the fact that you have the news. Oh, my gosh. And Darnell Mooney goes, every single one of our guys is just getting sniped from us. I guess we go Myers. Or do we go Jamal? Who are we going with here? We'll go Jamal Williams over Jacoby Myers. I don't know what the right thing to do was there. I mean, kind of panicked. Our top options on the board were Elijah Mitchell, Jerick McKinnon, and Darnell Mooney. So, I mean, it's a little bit painful, right? Kind of is what it is, though. Like, we can't sit here and cry about it. We just have to try to pivot if we can. But it looks like, yeah, people wanted Jamal. And, yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a right. I was going to say I don't think there was a wrong answer. But in reality, I don't think there was a right answer at that pick. I mean, like, what the hell are we supposed to do there? Okay, moving this over. Still can look at quarterback, tight end, of course. What's going to be interesting is, dependent on when we take our second quarterback as well as our second tight ends, are we taking either 3 quarterbacks or 3 tight ends? Is that something we can look at? Bush Sports says, not that I want to lose out on money, but I strongly advise you to try out some 4RB builds with the updated wide receiver ADP compared to a few weeks ago. My latest drafts are by far my best drafts of the offseason so far. I actually did a 4 running back build, my man, I think in the draft yesterday, and I have been mixing it in a bit. Like, that's what I was saying. We were looking at the ADP changing and preparing ourselves for the high stakes drafts. We're trying some new things out. I did a 4RB build draft yesterday, going 3 running backs out the gate, and then we waited until like the very end to grab our 4th guy. And also, I don't know if you saw, my man, in the $1,000 draft that we did, we started off CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Tony Pollard. And then we went like round 11, Zach Charbonnet. We got Charbonnet like 15 picks past ADP and went with the 4 running back approach that way. So I'll try to mix it in a little bit more, my man. We'll try to mix it in a little bit more as well. Okay, yeah, let me see that example. Okay, Jalen Warren off the board. I think I know what we're doing. I don't want to say it out loud, though, because I want to make sure it happens. Osborne goes 135. KJ Osborne was not who we were going to take here. Adam Thielen was not who we were going to take here. But now you're seeing Van Jefferson, Rashee Rice being the standalone last running backs that you could look to in this range. Jared Goff doesn't make a whole lot of sense for our team, right? I mean, we didn't take Amon-Ra St. Brown. We didn't take Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not too interested in taking Sam Laporta. We don't have Jameson Williams. Kincaid goes, I think, actually, no. Our first idea did not make sense. We're going to have to make sure that we stay away from that. And we will use the donation from Bush as a sign to just take his guy in, Van Jefferson here. We also have already bet on the Rams being better than expected, right, with Kupp as well as Cam Akers. So might as well triple down on that bet now and also set ourselves up with the ability to go Matthew Stafford a little later on. So there are a couple different reasons I think we have to take Van Jefferson there. I don't know if we want to walk through all of them. But yeah, let's take Van Jefferson. I definitely think that makes the most sense for us here. Now, Bigsby goes. We're definitely going to be a team where we're drafting 6 running backs, right? I mean, our first 4 running backs were Akers, Javonte, Dylan, and Jamal. Okay. So Lamar, Lamb, St. Brown, Bateman, Elijah Moore, Van Jefferson, Pat Fryman, Greg Dulcich holding down the fort. Then Najee, Dobbins, Sanders, Brian Robinson's. Okay. I'm assuming it was a 2 QB build. Did you go 3 tight ends there, my man? Did you go 3 tight ends or no? Okay, swing this back around. So we have 6 wide receivers at this point. I think our quarterback actually makes a lot more sense to go Stafford here rather than Love. I don't necessarily know if we want to be going Stafford to pick 150. We'll talk about it in a little bit more in just a second. Okay, just 2. If you went Lamb, St. Brown out the gate, I honestly probably plan on going 3 tight ends. And if I am going to go like a 4B build, generally I want to be doing so whenever we take one of the elite backs at the very top of the draft. At least personally, that's how I'm going about it. MVS off 148. So, yeah, we're going to take Cole Kmet. This is another reason why we decided to take Van Jefferson in the last round. Kmet was our last stacking option with Justin Fields, essentially, because we got sniped on Darnell Mooney. So let's go ahead and let's grab Cole Kmet here at pick 150. Don't think we have to think about that one too much. Okay. Roshan Johnson off 151. Kyler Murray off 152. Still definitely need running backs on the way back around. I also think when we get Kmet here, there's a chance that we only have to take 2 tight ends. We could take 3 if we really, really wanted to, right? But I mean, still our team's extremely weak at running back. We have to commit 6 roster spots to the running back position, essentially no matter what at this point. Okay. Let's move this around. Stafford is definitely our next look. We have Kupp, Akers, as well as Van Jefferson. So essentially with this team, we've already made a bet that the Los Angeles Rams are going to be much, much better than people are expecting this next season. Good shot we get Stafford all the way back around just because we already have all the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know who else is taking Stafford. Also, Derek Carr is protecting him a bit if someone's just going to go best quarterback available according to ADP. Okay. Alexis says, in a keeper league, what's the best value to keep? Saquon in the 3rd or Jalen Hurts in the 6th? We keep a player we drafted from last year in a 12-team draft. I think you're honestly going to have to wait a little bit to make that decision to get some more information with Saquon Barkley. My initial reaction is Barkley, but if you think Barkley misses any time, it has to be Hurts, right? If Barkley misses any time, it has to be Hurts. Okay, a bunch of wide receivers off the board. Let's queue up Stafford. Looks like a Stafford team here. Okay. Deonta Foreman off the board. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Matthew Stafford. And yeah, this team is extremely strong. Wide receiver, Kupp, Waddle, Metcalf, Christian Watson. Running back, Akers, Javonte, Dylan, Jamal. Wide receiver, we also have Juju, Van Jefferson. Tight end, Goddard, Kmet. Quarterback, we have Fields stacked up with Kmet. We have Stafford stacked up with Van Jefferson, Cam Akers, as well as Cooper Kupp. So yeah, I like this team. Okay. Let's move this over. So I think, I don't know. I think we can, if we love a quarterback at value, go with the third QB. Probably we don't want to. I'd say the same thing about tight ends. We can go with the third tight end if we love one at value, but we don't have to. So let's see. I mean, we have Dylan as well as Christian Watson. So we've already made the bet that the Packers are decent. Tajee Spears goes. Jordan Love, 172. Now that Love's off the board, we're not really looking at Pickett or Brock Purdy, right? So I think maybe we pull the trigger on Ezekiel Elliott. Say, what happens if Zeke goes to Kansas City with the Pacheco news? What happens if Zeke just goes to Buffalo? Zeke goes to Miami. Zeke goes back to Dallas, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. We need a running back. We're going to have to draft 6. Zeke as our running back 5. Doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world if he finds an offense that will just give him some goal line touches. Okay. Chuba Hubbard off the board. And we are going to fire up another draft after this one, ladies and gentlemen, once we hit 800 likes. So if you have not done so already, go down there and drop a like on this live stream. I believe we're only 19 likes away from firing up the next draft. Okay. Chris asking, do bye weeks ever influence your decisions? Hell to the no. Hell to the no. Okay. Kenny Pickett goes. So once we take Zeke, like one of the spots where he possibly goes is Miami if he's going to return value for us. So it makes us a little less excited to draft Jeff Wilson, right? We have to take, at minimum, another wide receiver. What we probably do with this team is we go one more wide receiver, one more running back, and then we save that last spot for either a QB or a tight end. Right? It's probably what we're doing. Six picks away. Young doesn't make a lot of sense. Like in theory, in some of these drafts, if you still need a quarterback and a tight end, you can go Bryce Young and then grab Hayden Hurst at the end, but we really can't take Hayden Hurst here. Okay. Gesicki goes off the board, 182. God, this is a slow draft. I think we probably knock off the wide receiver that we're looking to draft here. There are a couple different names that I think we can consider. I may reach on one that may surprise some people, but John Mechie goes 185. Here's our plan. We're either going to take Paris Campbell or Devontae Parker, whoever falls. We'd be reaching a bit on Parker, but we took Juju Smith-Schuster. I think maybe both these guys should be rising a bit with no DeAndre Hopkins, but Parker goes. So yeah, we'll take Paris Campbell as our wide receiver here. We're going to grab one running back and then either a QB or tight end. I don't know exactly the other spot, but let me show off this team and then we're going to hop into our next draft here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's scroll this down. We are going to be getting in a fast puppy draft. This is a $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool, $75,000 for first place. Let's get in this bad boy. And Nick out here. Nick's the member of the flock who won the puppy tournament last year for $75K. Move this around. Where are we picking? We're picking at 11. We were in a draft here earlier today on the live stream. We'll make it work. We'll make it work, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, if you want to get into one of these drafts with us, we are doing this every single day on the live stream. Every single day we are drafting these teams on Underdog. So of course, if you want to hop in, you're more than welcome to. It's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the season. You can find the link in the live chat, the link in the description, the link in the comment section. If you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Also, you're going to get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and it's available in all these states. Plus, now's the best time to get on Underdog because before July 22nd, they have the free Patrick Mahomes special up for everybody. But let's go ahead and let's see. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Here, CMC goes off the board at 3. I swear, T. Smitty is in every single one of these drafts with us. Every single one. Okay, so we're on the clock in that other draft. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Gus Edwards at 198 just because I don't know what else to do. And then between our last spot at either quarterback or tight end, like I said, I think we can pretty much go anywhere. Mac Jones would give us the stack with Juju. Trey Lance would give us a unique player with some upside. Luke Musgrave, we can continue to bet on the Green Bay Packers offense. We'll just queue up a bunch of random guys here. Okay, A.J. Brown goes. D. Martin on the clock. He goes Bijan Robinson, so sadly we are not able to get our guy. Instead, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take CeeDee Lamb here. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, y'all know we were taking CeeDee Lamb literally in every single one of these drafts before Bijan Robinson, but that was before we ran into Bijan Robinson at the gym, so we had to fix that. And I think we're going to go ahead and probably take Garrett Wilson as well. I think you're going to have, yeah. I think you're going to have a lot of other teams in this tournament with the combination of CeeDee Lamb as well as Garrett Wilson, but I think we can have a unique pair at the 3-4 turn that maybe helps us out a bit here. We'll see. Waddle going off the board there at 16. Papa says Wilson ramping. Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of Garrett Wilson in round 1 now. Henry says, Mason, what's your Nick Chubb share? You never draft them, so just curious. Yeah. I have very little Nick Chubb because I'm taking Jonathan Taylor over him. If it was non-PBR format, I think I could convince myself to instead go ahead and take Chubb over Taylor, but I don't know. Taylor's showed us that has a ceiling that's higher than what Nick Chubb's ever been able to see. Top of this, Taylor's still on his rookie deal. I don't know. Let me know. Can everybody please spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb? Please, we have like 600 people last time I checked in this draft. I'm sorry, in this live stream. Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb? Okay. Chubb, Taylor, Chubb, Taylor, Chubb. Chubb, Taylor, Chubb, Taylor, Chubb, Taylor. Chubb, Taylor, Chubb, See, it looks like most people would rather have Nick Chubb over Jonathan Taylor. And I just find myself on the opposite side of that coin. So that's one of the bets that I'm making this year is drafting a lot of JT. And when I'm drafting a lot of JT, inherently I'm not getting a lot of Jonathan Taylor. I'm sorry, a lot of Nick Chubb. Okay, Jalen Hurts off the board, 29. What did that team start off with? Tyreek, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts. Dear God, you got to be excited about that, right? Got to be excited about that. This team went with the Mahomes-Kelsey stack in the first round. Okay, Hall goes 31. Jacobs falling. I mean, you understand why Jacobs is falling with the contract situation, right? But at some point, you have to pull the trigger. This is a team that took Eckler, Taylor in their first 2 picks. So I wonder how likely they are to just pull the trigger on a third running back here. And they don't. They go Amari Cooper instead. Jacobs off 33. D. Martin went Bijan Chubb, so I think we can assume that they go wide receiver. I'd be surprised if we see a third running back off the board here. They go Debo. This goes back to us wanting to try to come up with a unique start, and I don't believe CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson is too unique. So if we are trying to have a little bit of a unique build, what we can possibly do here is take Calvin Ridley at pick 35. I'm not a big Ridley guy. I mean, in general, I'm taking Najee Harris. I'm taking Travis Etienne over Calvin Ridley. But going back to what we were discussing previously, I want that unique start. And also, I think a way that we can maybe get a little unique here and have a 4-man combo that not many people are going to be able to see is instead of taking Najee Harris, who is someone that I dropped a lot in this range, go ahead and take Travis Etienne. Set ourselves up with a little bit of a double stack there with that Jacksonville Jaguars offense with a Ridley and Travis Etienne there at the 3-4 turn. So like I said, we're not trying to necessarily draft for an optimization of the highest median projection. And instead, we maybe just want to try to get a little bit different. Like it's Ralphie says, the 111 to 202 is the same range at every single draft. It's not so fun. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like when you're in these drafts, you have to find a way to get a little bit different while not sacrificing an elite ceiling. And I think if we take the combo of these Jacksonville Jaguars players, we are doing that, right? At least in my mind, we are. Okay. So Gibbs goes 41. So that team has a pretty interesting team. I'd say my favorite team in this draft so far is probably that team at 9. That goes A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris. I think you have to be pretty excited about that. Okay. DJ Moore off the board at pick 43. Jacob asking if we're drafting another one. I want to try to join again. If we had 1,000 likes on this live stream, my friend, we are going to go ahead and hop into another draft. And we are going to draft every single day on this live stream here until 2024. So you'll have a million opportunities to hop into draft with us, my friend. Okay. Kenneth Walker goes 46, Mixon off the board 47. Said this previously. I mean, we were taking Kenneth Walker before Joe Mixon, before he restructured his deal. But now that you have the Joe Mixon restructuring, it's difficult for me to think it makes too much sense to continue to do so. I feel like at this point, I just kind of have to bow down and say, yeah, you got to take Joe Mixon over Kenneth Walker. Now, I'm assuming that team there at 51 takes Joe Burrow, right? You assume, yeah, they go Burrow. They had Higgins. And you probably have the team at 6 that starts Diggs, Olave, Henry, actually getting the DJ Moore, Justin Fields stack as well. That is awesome. Jacob says, are we worried about Mixon being suspended? I had a lawyer on the channel a couple weeks back, and he told us, no, don't be worried about Mixon. Sounds like if there really is any concern with Mixon, they're just going to delay it, similar to what Kamara did this past year. And, of course, I'm talking out of my ass, but that is what we were told. Okay. Let's move this around. We could always reach on Trevor Lawrence to set ourselves up with that ETN Ridley double stack. I think it kind of depends on what else we're going to be looking at here at the 5-6 turn. Hawkinson goes 57. Okay, what do we want? I feel like we're looking at a pretty flat tier. I'm just going to go ahead. Yeah, let's just take Lawrence. Who cares? Generally, I don't like trying to reach for our stacks, but I feel like we are having unique build if we do this. Keep in mind, this is our 4th draft, right? So my brain's a little bit broken at this point. Godwin goes pick 60. Madison 61. And okay, so we can go Hollywood Brown here. Essentially, the bet that we are making with this team is that Lawrence continues to improve and the Jacksonville Jaguars are a top 5 offense in the NFL this next year. That is the main thing that we are looking to bet with this team in particular. Now, of course, I could be wrong, but $5 buy-in. $75,000 for first place. Trying to find that high ceiling. Okay. Braxton says, my number one player being drafted is DeAndre Swift, and I don't know how to feel. Where he was going immediately when these drafts first launched, it was a horrible, horrible price tag. Like, we went through and we did a bunch of research and we made a video on exactly why you shouldn't draft DeAndre Swift. We wrote it up in an article on flockfantasy.com, exactly why you shouldn't draft DeAndre Swift. But now I feel like it's a little bit better if you want to do so, considering he's fallen so much. Okay, Pitts off the board, 68. Braxton says, might as well let it ride at this point. Well, to be fair, my man, no other options. That's all you can call Underdog up. Be like, hey, I actually changed my mind on DeAndre Swift. I'm going to want a refund on all the DeAndre Swift teams. I think you got to let it ride, my man. I think you got to let it ride. Okay. Sanders off the board, 71. God, just in my mind, it's so crazy to see Tony over Sanders. Primetime says, my most owned is Zeke, Fournette, and Hunt. Feel like I can't help myself smashing them in the last round. If they get signed, it's a huge value. I've been taking a lot of them as well, my man. And I was doing so with confidence earlier on, but obviously when we get closer to the season, I get more and more worried. I've used this lesson before. I was also the guy taking Will Fuller when he didn't come back. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, when Will Fuller gets signed, yeah, it's going to be great. And Will Fuller never signed. He never played again. And we were sitting there with a dead roster spot on a lot of teams. So I'm hoping we do not see that with Akers. I'm hoping we do not, with Fournette, with Hunt, with Zeke. But it's a possibility. You know, it's something I haven't thought much about, but I mean, you do have to think about it. We are going to have someone in training camp go down for the year. Like, we're just going to have something. And of course, I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but we're going to have like a report, oh, CeeDee Lamb down, torn ACL. You know, that's something that we have not had to deal with in a very, very long time. Sad to think about, to be honest. Okay, now hands on the clock. See what they decide to do. They go Treylon Burks, pick 81. Hell yes, we're going to get Darren Waller. Y'all know, I mean, we took Darren Waller in the last draft. I like this price point on him. I like drafting Daniel Jones with where he goes in that just no man's land of all these different guys. So we're going to take Darren Waller, not think twice about that. Stone Buck back up on the clock. They go Rashad White as well as Isaiah Pacheco. So we're going to take Brandon Cooks in that case. Setting ourselves up with the Dallas Cowboys double stack to go CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Dak Prescott. Okay. Let's move this down. So, wide receiver, we have Lamb, Wilson, Ridley, Hollywood, Cooks. Running back, we have Travis Etienne. Quarterback, we have Lawrence double stacked with Etienne and Ridley. Tight end, we have Darren Waller. Talked about this before, but Waller's a little bit of an awkward pick in that you don't know if you're good at tight end with one more. You don't know if you need two more. It kind of depends on where you take those guys. I mean, you could argue that it's nice having the flexibility, but I would argue that it's a little bit of a headache. I'd rather have to think as little as possible, and it makes us think and puts us in uncomfortable situations, which is probably good for us, but kind of like when we know, okay, I can't draft another tight end, or okay, I need to draft two more, you know? It's like easy. Okay. Dalvin, Javonte, Alvin Kamara all off. Cortland Sutton goes 93. Bush Sports says, last year it was Tim Patrick, and he was my most drafted wide receiver at the time. And my most this year is Paris Campbell with his injury history. Yeah. Luckily, I didn't have a ton of Tim Patrick last year. But when Patrick did go down, after I spent the entire offseason just talking about how Cortland Sutton was the worst pick in fantasy football drafts, Patrick went down. I went, oh my God, Sutton's going to bury me. It's like, is Sutton actually going to work out? Are these Sutton drafters going to get lucky? And of course, ended up being that, no, hell no. Come on. Come on. Okay. Sky Moore goes there. We took Sky Moore in the last draft. Let's move this back around. Michael Thomas still available. Hell, Michael Thomas went pick 34 in the 33 in our last draft. We've seen Michael Thomas go as high as pick 6. Lazard off the board. We still clearly need running. I mean, we need a little bit of everything. We can go QB. We can go. Oh, did someone take Dak on us? Who the hell took Dak? This team took an unstacked Dak Prescott. No Pollard, no Lamb, no Cooks. It is what it is. Maybe that saves us. We'll see. Jacob says Sutton is good. Wilson was a hot mess. Cortland Sutton's about to be 28 years old and has never been a top 24 wide receiver from a points per game perspective. Cortland Sutton's never been a top 24 wide receiver. Single season. Obviously, points per game. That's what we look at, but okay. What do we want here? What's D. Martin doing? He goes Boyd, so I think we're going to go ahead and take... Do we want David Njoku or Pat Freiermuth? We'll take David Njoku, part of a better offense. And getting Njoku here, it's kind of nice in that we are locked in and we don't have to draft another tight end. And Chris says Njoku is his most owned player. Daniel Jones off 108. We can't go Freiermuth, even if I like the Freiermuth value. McKinnon off as well. So I think we're actually probably going to take Anthony Richardson here. And going with Richardson, this will allow us to only have to take 2 quarterbacks as well. We're going to take, I believe, 2 QBs, 6 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. So far, our wide receivers are Lamb, Wilson, Ridley, Hollywood, Brandon Cooks. Our running backs are ETN, and that's it. Our tight ends are Darren Waller, David Njoku. Our quarterbacks are Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson. The offenses that we've primarily bet on so far are the Dallas Cowboys with CeeDee Lamb as well as Brandon Cooks, and the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and Calvin Ridley. Okay. Let's move this down. Tannehill off the board, 111. David Martin says it auto. Did you have Tannehill up in your queue, my man? Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah, I guess you took Hopkins pick 39, so you're like, okay, yeah, I'll queue up Brian Tannehill, make sure I don't forget. That's why I never queue up players that late. Like, the only time I ever queue up someone is if we're like the round of, you know. I'm not queuing up my 18th round selections just in case something like that happens. Like, I'd rather auto draft someone who's sitting at the top of ADP than someone who I queued up for round 17 or 18. Okay, Geno, Brian Robinson. Love that Brian Robinson value. Phenomenal value with Brian Robinson there. I think you make an argument that we should have taken Brian Robinson over Anthony Richardson. I mean, now we're seeing how much this league values quarterbacks. Taking Ryan Tannehill right after was probably the right call to take Richardson. But Damian Harris off the board. Jared Goff goes as well. I love seeing the quarterbacks get drafted, of course. You may have Rodgers falling a considerable amount. We are the Garrett Wilson drafter, so... I mean, we're not taking Aaron Rodgers. We already have Lawrence and Richardson. Nico Collins off the board, 122. Devon Achane goes 123. Okay, let's smooth this over. All right. Zay Jones definitely in play for us if he falls all the way down to 131. I mean, we'll have the full-blown Jacksonville Jaguars onslaught. Obviously, Alec Pierce is someone that we can look at a little later, but in general with Anthony Richardson, I'm kind of fine having him unstacked because we're not betting on the passing volume in Indianapolis. Instead, we're actually betting on just the rushing production for Anthony Richardson. You can see a week from Richardson where he has 60 rushing yards and multiple rushing touchdowns. Jan says, Ivan Melendez, after getting promoted to AA ball, has homered 4 times in the first 3 games. That's massive, massive. And Jan, how did actually, I'm not even going to ask that. I saw what happened. But I am excited for Texas football. This is about the time of the year where I'm the worst Texas Longhorns fan on the planet. Where I pretty much am the definition of a fair weather fan. But this is about the time of the year I start looking at it going, oh, we can be good. This may be our year. We may make some noise. Okay. Going to take Dobbs here considering how far he falls, right? I mean, we still need to draft 2 more wide receivers. Obviously, we need running back, but we could go Jamal or Jalen Warren. There's a chance we get Jamal or Warren on the way back around. There's no shot we get Romeo Doubs on the way back around. Russ goes. Is Greg Dulcich already off? Yeah, I guess so. And Jamal goes as well. Did we take Hollywood? Since we took Hollywood, I'm going to take Rondell Moore. And honestly, since we take Rondell Moore here, we may go 7 RBs. It's probably what we're going to do. This is probably going to be a 2-7-7-2 draft. Maybe it's still a 2-6-7-2. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't exactly know what the right answer is to do here. I mean, probably the right answer is get back in a time machine and take Jamal Williams over Romeo Doubs. I don't know. Adam Thielen, Gallup goes, oh, please just take wide receivers. Get these wide receivers out of my face. We need running backs. Like this live stream, we did not do a good job of putting ourselves in a position where we could be flexible, right? I mean, y'all know in the past I've said that's kind of what I want to be able to do. I want to start off our draft in a way where we're flexible in the later rounds to take values as they fall. Here we have not done that in this draft. In this draft, there may be a shot where we are reaching on running backs. Like we may not be able to get away from it. She Rice, Tank Bigsby. All right, let's swing this back around. Laporta goes, okay, so just give us some running backs. Take Tyler Higbee. Someone take Higbee. You know you want him. You know you need him. Come on, you took Cooper Kupp. Make the bet on Higbee. Duke says, even if Dalvin signs, Raheem Mostert's market share numbers do not change. I strongly disagree, my friend. If Dalvin Cook signs, Raheem Mostert will have significantly less work than if Dalvin Cook does not sign in Miami. Like Dalvin Cook signing in Miami is very bad for Mostert. I want to be on record saying that. Okay, Singletary off, not good for us. Seeing any running back go is bad for us. Any running back being drafted is bad for us. You know what I just realized? I just checked YouTube Studio on my phone. Good and bad news. Good news is, looks like YouTube Shorts are actually doing well for us. And we're getting a bunch of subscribers from YouTube Shorts. That's the good news. The bad news that comes along with that is we may actually have a shot at 200,000 subscribers before the season starts, and I may have to do the 24-hour live stream. I was not expecting that. Not expecting that, to say the least. Okay, so Martin on the clock. Took Bijan, so I doubt we have to be worried about him taking Algier. Never mind. He goes to Algier. We're going to take Roschon Johnson. And we're probably going to take Deontay Foreman as well and say hook 'em horns. JN's in the chat. That's a sign. And maybe Khalil Herbert's not the guy. I don't know. Yeah, we're going to go Deontay Foreman here. We'll take both those backup Chicago Bears running backs and say, what if Khalil Herbert is just not him? What if Khalil Herbert does nothing? Okay, let's move this down. But only have 4 rounds left, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are probably going to go walk the dog before it gets too late where I'm not allowed to go outside. Tomorrow, we are going to start the live stream earlier. Tomorrow, we're going to start the live stream most likely at about 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern. So looking forward to seeing you then. And of course, if you want to get in a draft with us, then make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll also get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And make sure you do so now because they have the free Patrick Mahomes lineup until July 22nd. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that ASAP. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really do appreciate you. And really hope I get to see you with the live stream tomorrow night.